Hello, good morning to you all. I hope you're well today. I'm going to be doing some very simple, straightforward stringing necklaces, but and bracelets. We have lots of gorgeous coloured crystals. So there's 4 colours in total, and you can choose from which metal findings you want in there, whether you want to have gold or silver in terms of your spaces. And we also have 4 gorgeous colours in each necklace and bracelet set. It's a lovely little deal for you today. So I'm going to take you over to the website. I think each makes 3 up, so 3 necklaces and 3 bracelets. They're really pretty. We're just going to be playing around with colour and tone today. So I'm going to take you over to the website. We are, of course, totallybeads.co.uk. And if you head over into the video tutorial section, which is on our main page, you'll see today I'm doing these ones here called Danniella Crystal Rainbow Jewellery. These would actually look really lovely with the little line drop earrings. If you had those already, you could have a little kind of mixy match, unless of course you've got lots of crystals left over, and then you might want to use that technique to make earrings. So you can see we've already discounted the kits for you today. Each one of them is just £11.50, and that's going to make 3 sets up, so 3 necklaces and 3 matching bracelets. We've got bouquet, dawn, garden and ocean, so predominantly purples, some gorgeous kind of goldy bronzy tones for you in the dawn set. The garden is lovely colours of green, and then the ocean is different shades of blue. So I will show you what you're getting in each of your kit. You're going to be making 3 necklaces and 3 bracelets. So I'm going to be using 4 different colours of the crystal Rondelle beads. We've got spacer beads, Tigertail wire, jump rings, lobster clasps, calllottes and crimp beads. So all your findings are in there for you. These are all the colours that we're using. So this is going to be on the silver. We've got 3x4 crystal rondelles. So we have them in an amethyst, an opaque dark purple, a purple and a purple iris. So lots of lovely purple tones in this kit. All of your crystals are 3x4mm, and then we have the round spacer beads, which are 4mm, and of course your tiger tail and your findings will also be silver to match there. So this one is your very pretty purple bouquet, which I think I'm going to demo for you today because I'm just in that kind of mood. Then if we head into dawn, still £11.50, still making up 3 necklaces and 3 bracelets. You can see here we've got these beautiful tones. So I will scroll down and let you know we've got smoky, light champagne, a bronze plate. These are on champagne coloured findings. So your spacer beads, which are 4mm, are on the champagne, as well as your lobster clasp, your jump rings, your clots and your crimps. So bronze plate, dark champagne, light champagne and smoky for you there. You can see how lovely these look, and you can arrange your crystals however way you want to. I've just been putting them in little pairs and then kind of mirroring and swapping around the different shades and tones in those, but you're getting enough to make 3. So if you really wanted to, you could do one long strip of one colour, move into a different tone. You could graduate those and create a more kind of ombre look. So we're not graduating in size, you could kind of ombre it within colour. So moving from maybe the darkest to the lightest would be beautiful with these crystals, and all of these colours would allow you to do that. I've just been putting them, as I say, in pairs, so I'm popping them 2 colours with 2 colours, and then we're popping 4 on at a time, just using those little spaces. These spaces are champagne, just to divide in between to make this lovely, very elegant, very summery set. I think these look beautiful in the summer. Obviously they're faceted, the way they're shaped with being Rondelle beads, they're going to catch the light just absolutely beautifully. But I think it's nice to have simple, clean jewellery with lots of twinkle and sparkle. I think it would look particularly nice with my little suit that I'm wearing today, to be honest. So I might model a blue one later, or might even pop the purple one on. Depends, whatever you're wearing, they look gorgeous with a t-shirt, whatever you want to do. So this one is your dawn. And then still for £11.50 with that lovely discount, we move into the garden. Garden is all these beautiful greens. So your spacer beads on this, again, are champagne gold. I've got the green iris, the peridot, the teal, and we also have the emerald. Now, I would say I probably would have been easier to demo this one just because it's easier to see how I'm arranging them, because I think there's more of a contrast. Although these are all green, there's definitely more of a contrast between that green iris and the peridot and the teal and the emerald in terms of the colour. I've put these on the champagne today. I think they look absolutely beautiful. I'm still going to demo with the purple. But I will not be naming them while I'm talking about them with their proper names. I'll just be going that kind of pinkishy one and that kind of lilac-y one and that kind of darker toned one. That will be the names I choose to differentiate between them. So that one is your green garden. Loving that one. And then our ocean, which again, £11.50, again, everything you need in your kit to make up 3 sets. So 3 necklaces, 3 bracelets. All of the crystal rondelles are the same size as are the spacers. And you have your Tigertail, your jump rings, your lobster clasp, your calllottes and your crimp beads all included in there for you. This one in your ocean is aqua, blue iris, light blue and lilac. And of course, I popped them with the silver plated 4mm round spacer beads. So let me know in the comments which colourway are you liking the most. They would also look really beautiful if you wanted to layer them up and stack them. So if you did want to multi-buy on this, you definitely could. If you wanted to mix those colours as well, if you multi-bought, you definitely could. I think the garden would look beautiful with dawn. I think ocean would look lovely with garden, dawn, bouquet. They all really complement each other. So there are your kits today, making 3 necklaces, 3 bracelets, all in one kit for just £11.50. So I am going to say a good morning to you in the comment. If I can get my camera to catch up. Doesn't seem to be playing up quite as badly as it did on Monday for me. So we will see and we will hope for the best. So let me say hello to you very quickly before we start making. Good morning to Rachel in a bright barrow. It's very overcast. It's warm. It really is warm, but it's very overcast. It looks like it could rain, but it says it won't. Jan's in a warm Sudbury. Mina's in. Hello to you. She says, love these kits. A few have fallen into my basket. What colours did you go for, Mina? Good morning, Heather. How are you doing? She says, good morning, Natalie and my beading friends. Carol's in, Kath's in, Elaine's here. The lovely Anne is with us. Yolanda's in as well. Hello to you, sweetheart. Question is bouquet in champagne finding, please. No, bouquet is going to be in your silver findings. I did originally intend to pair them with the rose gold. I thought they would look nice with rose, but we don't have them in stock, so I'm going to pop them on the silver instead and see how they look. Of course, Mina, if you bought a few of them, then you could, of course, put one with the champagne instead. If you wanted to mix up the spacers and the findings that you get in your kit, you're going to have enough to make 3. So, you know, in each colourway. So if you wanted to multi-buy, you could do one in silver coloured findings. You could do one in the champagne findings, whatever you want to do. Hello to Norway Gems. How are you doing? All the way from Norway. Gorgeous part of the world. Thank you for being with me today. And good morning to Joanne as well. She says, good morning all. Cloudy blue skies and sun. Absolute mixed bag today in Coventry. My granddaughter is watching with me today. Hello. Bet she's getting big now, isn't she, Joanne? My neighbour's had a little baby girl. I haven't seen her yet. I've seen pictures of her and I've dropped presents off, but still waiting for a cuddle. Ooh, they go so big. I've just bought my little one school tie. I'm not ready for him becoming big juniors. He's not so little anymore. We went to an awards evening for him yesterday, and the deputy head teacher just said to me, what are you feeding him? He's so tall. And as someone who is how do we word it, challenged in height, I'm delighted that he doesn't take after me. I'd like him to be tall, but it doesn't matter, does it? Good things come in small packages, which is exactly what these are today. Look at these beautiful, beautiful crystals. They're absolutely gorgeous. just the twinkle on them. I'll move them out to the side. But before I do, just in terms of stacking these, if you wanted to stack them and layer them, I'm not going to put it on. I'm just going to hold them across my arm. Oh, there's so many, I just can't. Right, I'll just lay them across. If you wanted to stack these up, they'd look gorgeous. Vertically challenged, that's it, Heather. She says she's loving the ocean and the green. So, I mean, they'd look absolutely beautiful together. You could mix these, you could layer these. Let's just pull a couple of them out. You know, you could have them so one sits inside the other. You could even join them onto the same clasp, I suppose, if you wanted to, and have them staggered like this. I'm going to add in, I'm just going to drop them all over the floor. I mean, even adding in that little touch of gold. They're just beautiful. And of course, as I say, you could ombre these as well in terms of your colour. So you could start with maybe your darkest blue tones or the lightest, and you could just run them all the way around, just swapping over gradually. You could alternate if you wanted to do, you know, I'm popping on 4 in a little cluster of each colour. But if you've got 4 strands, so you could literally alternate between each colour all the way down. You could do whatever you wanted to do with these. You're getting loads to play with. Today I just wanted to kind of have a little bit of a play with colour and tone and just see how we get on. I'm going to move these out of the way for now. So you've got all your gorgeous colours there. I would have just probably named them kind of, well, you can't really, the green one I'd have named green, but I think garden and ocean and bouquet just sums them up even better, really. So I'm going to take my tiger tail. I'm taking about 50 centimetres of my tiger tail, which is about 20 inches for those of you who work in those size. Mina says ocean for kids stitch colours. Oh, Mina gets little charms of that particular Disney character who is very popular at the moment, and absolutely, yeah, they would look gorgeous with those. Oh, Joanne, congratulations. Joanne says she's going to be a big sister in December. How absolutely gorgeous. I'll made up for you. Do you know what's happening in December? Is she gonna have a little brother or a little sister? Oh, December babies are the best. I am one. Right, so I cut my tiger tail, as I'm going to go for 50 centimetres, which is just shy of 20 inches. You can add on as much or as little as you want. You can make this a really long sitting necklace if you wanted to. It would also look beautiful as a choker because you've got loads of crystals to play with. I'm going to start adding my spacer onto the middle of my strand. So these are 4 millimetres. And I'm just going to add on my silver spacer, and I just want that to sit in the middle. When I'm playing around with design, I start from the middle and I work my way out in terms of that symmetry. If, however, you are doing something completely different, if it works easier for you, you can start by adding your calotte and your crimp bead onto one end of your tiger tail, and that's going to act as a stopper bead as well, so stop all of those like crystals sliding off. I'm sitting at a little bit of a jaunty angle today, so I might just move myself up a little bit and try not to knock my camera. So I'm going to take my 4 strands of beautiful crystals. I've already used lots of these to make a necklace and a bracelet, so you can see I've got plenty left. These are really lovely long strands, and I'm just going to choose which ones I want paired together. You can do whatever you want, so I'm going to put those 2 together and these 2 together, I think. And again, you know, you don't have to follow this particular pattern. What I do now might not even be what I did on my sample. I'm just going to change it up a little bit. So I've got my spacer bead in the center, and I'm going to start by adding on my first colour onto one side. So I'm just going to keep using these 2 here as a little pair, and then those 2 here as a little pair. If I hold them up, you can see those really gorgeous colours. I love the kind of opaqueness of this with the absolute like shimmer of that one. And I just think all of these tones look absolutely beautiful together. This one's kind of got like a lavender hue to it, and this one's kind of got more of a rose tone. Oh, God, love her. Now I'm just reading about babies. Lovely. Right, okay, so I'm going to start off, and I'm just going to, each time I pop this colour on, I'm going to pop it on in little groups of 4. So I'm going to start off in this case with kind of the rosy, pinkishy purple colour. I told you I'm not going to be naming them what the actual names are. I should have learned them. Should have learned them by now. But there's so many tones. I just say, is it the purpley one? Okay, so I'm going to add 4 of those on, and then I've matched that with the kind of lavender kind of coloured purples. So I'm going to pop 4 of those on as well. And I'm keeping them on to one side. So going on to the same side, this is my little grouping. And I'm going to pop on 8 crystals in total, so 4 of one colour and 4 of another. And then each time I've added my little groups of colour on, I'm going to pop a spacer, but I'm going to start working on this side as well. We want to make sure that it's kind of balanced. So now I'm going to take the very, very shimmery ones, which have got almost like a metallic finish to them, and I'm going to put 4 onto this side and slide them down. And then I paired those with the kind of opaque coloured purples. They look almost, they're too purple to be garnet, but they're very, very beautiful. So again, 4 on of each colour each time. So they're my little groupings. And then going to add my spacer bead on to each side, and that's just going to kind of group them together. Now I'm going to swap over, so this pair is now going to go on this side, and this pair is now going to go on this side, but I'm also going to switch them over as well, just because that's how I want to do it. So where I started with the rose pink and went into the lavender, I'm now going to start with the lavender on this side, again still using 4, so I just take them off my strand. So you might just want to lay them out on the table. Keep them on your strands, but just lay your strands out on the table. And then you can kind of keep them in your pairs. It's so twinkly. Can't even see the drill hole in that one. It's definitely there. So that is my 4 of that colour. And then still keeping it with that same pair. I'm now going to pop that one, that colour behind it. So 4 of those. I've got this stand right in my face. There you go. And just move them down to the centre. And then again, I'm going to pop this colour now onto this side, but I'm swapping them over. So I'm going to start this time with the opaque coloured ones. I know opaque is not a colour. It's like a finish, kind of like a matte colour. But they're not matte because they're very, very twinkly. And then I'm going to keep it in that same little colour group. And then I'm going to go for the kind of very shiny rainbow metallic ones. Should I check what I've caught, what they're actually named? Okay. And then now I've put on my 8 crystals, I'm going to pop another stopper on, another spacer bead. I tend to use 17 spacer beads in this design. I finish with the spacers as well, just next to the clasp. And I think I'm using about 32 of each colour. So now I've popped on my rose onto this side, I'm going to go back and I'm going to add on the shiny metallic ones. What I did when I was making them is I just held up those two ends of Tigertail together, and I kind of got into a little repetition because whatever I finished on that side then went onto this side. But you can put these on in any order that you want to. I do think actually to make an ombre looking one would be beautiful. So I think I'd probably start maybe with the rose pink, move into the lavenders, then maybe have the metallic-y shiny ones and then the opaque looking ones in the middle, and just play around with that kind of design. So I've used my, I am going to just find out what these are actually called. So these ones that I've just put on there are the purple iris. So after I've popped the purple iris on, I'm going to go back to the purple. There you go, that sounds a bit better, doesn't it? So again, a little group of 4. And they're going to sit like so. And then now I'm going to go back to the lilac-y colour, I think. Or should I do the light pinks again? No, I think I'll just swap it over on this side. So after I've put those on, I'm going to go for, I don't know, you do what you want to do. So I swapped these. Let me find the centre. There you go. So I'm going to go for the, I think I'm going to go for the lilacs. I think I'll go for the pinks. Decisions. So I'm adding 4 of those on, and then 4 of these on. So I'm always adding 8 crystals in this design. And then each time I've added on 8 crystals, I'm going to add on my spacer. And now I need to do the rose pink on this side, which isn't rose pink. This particular colour is just the amethyst. It's got more of a pinky tone to it. So I told you, if I'd have been using the greens, they're just a little bit easier to kind of explain. So I probably should have demoed with that. Okay, so I've used those ones, and now I'm going to go for the purple. And then onto this side, I'm going to use the very shimmery ones, which are called, let me flick through, purple iris. I might remember it one. I'll remember when I get to the end. Just threading them on. So that's the first 4. And I tend to just pick them up off the strand and keep them in between my fingers. So I've got those drill holes pretty much lined up. I can just transfer them onto my Tigertail. And then once I put my clusters on, all my little colour groups, I'm just going to pop on another spacer. Let's pop those down into the middle. I'm now going to go for the same colour that I put on last onto the opposite side. fallen onto my mat, so I'm just going to pick them up one by one. Mina says, thank you, Natalie, for the lovely kits, and she's ordered a few only. I can't wait to see what you all do with them. I think it's just nice to be creative with, as I say, with colour and tone really, and just do what it is you feel. And you're going to be able to get quite a lot out of these, so you'll be able to do, you know, completely different designs. You might find, actually, I just want to use 2 of the colours, and then in that case you just put those 2 of those colours on. So I'm going to go for this one. I think I should have been a bit more freer with this today and just played about a little bit more. There's no rules. You just do what you want to do. They're all gorgeous and they all complement each other absolutely beautifully. And then once I've put 8 onto each side, I'm going to pop the spacer on. And then swapping over those colours onto the opposite side. I love the shape of these as well. They look like, well, Rondelle's kind of like a flattened circle, if that makes any sense. They're just so twinkly and sparkly. I'm going to then put on some of these ones. So really straightforward, simple, making nice summer jewellery today. You know, if you are wanting to sit in your garden, if you have one, and make, or I don't know, maybe you've got a conservatory or a caravan. These are nice little projects to kind of make and relax. So swapping over 4 of one colour, all of the other. I've got my strands kind of crisscrossed on the table now, so probably end up with crystals everywhere. Go for... I feel like I have a bit of a mismatch going on this side. I don't really mind. What did we say? No rules, didn't I? There's no rules, just put them on wherever you want to. And then my spacer. Move down a little bit. Mina says, I made a lovely rainbow necklace in a similar design, so we'll post photos later. Mina, the necklace can be as long as you want it to be. I'm cutting 50 centimetres of Tigertail, which is about 20 inches, but you're going to get enough to make 3. So if you want to make it shorter, just add less on. If you want to make it longer, just add more on. There's going to be plenty in there for you to play with. I'll measure this one out when I've finished. I do think they'd make really nice chokers as well, if you wanted to have them much shorter. Pop on maybe like a little extender chain at the back. You've got your lobster clasp in your kit, so you'll be able to add an extender chain onto that, no problem. Am I at the right place? I think I'm at the right place. So I'm then going to just pop on my last little group of crystals onto one side and onto the other side. Ooh. Heather says, I like the idea of adding charms. You could definitely add little charms into this. That would be really pretty. I need to finish with those ones. So no rules, just play with colour. Play about with the 4 gorgeous tones that you're getting in your kit. Place them as you want to. Use your spacers just to kind of divide between those little sections. And when you have the length that you're after, just going to finish with a spacer. So I'm going to pop a spacer onto each end. And then I'm going to, should really just place these down. So if I get the open ends of my crystals, they're not going to go everywhere. I'm then going to take my calotte and my crimp bead. So I'm going to double crimp. So I'm going to need 4 of my crimp beads. I'm going to take one piece of my Tigertail, or one end of my Tigertail, and pop that calotte on, and then add on 2 of my crimp beads. And I'm going to slide one up to the end of that Tigertail and just flatten it out. Unless you want to crimp it properly, you absolutely can. But by just pressing down and flattening them, I can bring the calotte over the top. Then the calotte in your kit will fit 2 crimp beads lovely inside. Just give you that nice professional little finish. Just making sure those little holes at the end of my calotte are lined up nicely. And I'll pop a little bit of pressure onto that to close it up. And then just slide them down. And I want to get that lovely curved shape. So I know it doesn't quite fit in camera shot, but I'm creating that curve, making sure that spacer bead is pushed right up to that calotte. And then I'm going to add my other calotte on. And then just 1 crimp bead for now. Let it fall right down in the centre of the calotte. Make sure my tension's nice. So I'm creating that curve in my necklace. I'm going to flatten down 1 crimp bead and then add the other one on, just so that can sit on top, and apply a little bit of pressure onto that as well. So now that calotte is fixed in place and it won't move. And then I'm going to just take my cutters and trim off any excess that I don't need before I close over the calotte onto this side, making sure those crimp beads are hidden inside of it. And just take a pair of chain nose pliers just to put a little bit of pressure. Make sure when you're pressing down, you're just pressing on the calotte, you're not putting pressure on that spacer bead. You don't want to crack that spacer. Heather says she's still having hand issues at the moment. It's really painful. I do really empathise with you, Heather. This is a nice easy project. It's just straight stringing. I'm going to open up my jump ring and slide it on. Make sure you rest in them though, Heather. Look after them. You need them for all your lovely makes. I'm going to add my clasp on to one side and then just close over and then open up my other jump ring, give it a little twist towards me or away from me, slide that on through 2 little holes in the calotte and close it over. And there is my necklace. Mina wanted to know exactly how long this one is, so I'll do it in inches and then centimetres. So that is 12, just under 20 inches, which is what, about 50 centimetres, I think. That will be 30, 40, yeah, just under 50 centimetres, Mina. So if you obviously add on your tiger tail to the length that you want, add all the crystals on to the length that you want, and then you're going to get that little extra bit of length with your calotte and your spacers. Your jump rings. So this is my gorgeous finished necklace. I think it looks lovely actually against the silver. In terms of doing a bracelet, all I would do for a bracelet is I would take about 8 inches of my tiger tail. So let's get my tiger tail out. Do a quick one. So I'm cutting about 8 inches of my tiger tail. Again, adjust this to the size that you want it to be. You can always add a little extender onto the end of it, and then you can make that slightly adjustable. I'm still going to start off popping my spacer right in the middle. This time I'm just going to work out in my colour order. So I'm keeping the colours that I've put together. So these two will be paired together and these two will still be paired together. But I'm not going to swap and change as much. I'm just going to add on 4 of one, picked up 5 there. And you could even make it symmetrical if you wanted to. So you could put 4 on of the same colour and tone onto the other side. Actually, no, we'll swap it. And then I'm going to pop these on. Just make sure they don't roll off the end. Use a little bead stopper if you've got one. I don't have mine to hand, I don't think. But then you're taking it off and on. So if you know your colour pattern, you could always just work from your calotte. So then I'm just going to add on the same tone but in the opposite direction. So I'm going to use those on this side. And then I'm going to add on those ones. And then once I put my spacer on, I'm going to do the other colours. So for my bracelet, I tend to use about 8 inches of tiger tail, and I probably use about 12 of each colour rondelle, and I think I use about 7 spacers probably, because I want one in the centre. But again, it depends on the size that you're wanting to make. And we can put those colours on that one. Those ones. And I'm just going to pop them onto both sides, always adding on 4 of the same colour and popping them into their pair. So I've got 8 crystals on. Before I add the next spacer. And you can just keep going with that and then just finish it as you would when you've got your length. So size-wise at the moment, I'm going to need to make another group, I think, of these. Yeah. So I'm going to go and add 4 of those on. Might as well finish it. Going to have to move this stand because it's really driving my neck nuts. Wonder why I've got neck problems, and then realise I'm like sitting really funny just to be able to see what I'm doing. Okay, and then here I'm going to put 4 of those on. Make sure they don't fall off the end of your tiger tail. And then finishing with those ones. So again, I'm going to finish with a spacer bead on each side. And then my 2 calottes and my 2 crimp beads, all of which are going to be in your kit. You're going to get enough of everything, all of your findings, all of your crystals, to make 3 necklaces and 3 bracelets up in the Danniella Crystal Rainbow necklace and bracelet set, or jewellery set, and they're just £11 and 50 today off the Totally Bead website. So pop on my calotte, making sure they don't fall off. This is the time, ideally, a little stopper is very, very useful, and they're available on the website as well. Just because as I'm moving this tiger tail here, I don't want to knock my pattern off when I lift it up. But I'm going to slide, it's getting close to the end. I'm going to slide my crimp bead up and then bring the other one up to it. Didn't actually get them quite flush, but they should still hide inside that calotte. Take the chain nose pliers, just push down and close that over, and then push them all up and get that nice curved shape. So my tension's going to be nice. And then popping on a calotte onto this end. There's crimp bead. Let that drop right down into the middle. For the amount of crystals you're going to get in these kits, for £11.50 for 4 strands, very long strands of 4 gorgeous colours, to get all of your findings and things as well. I think it's a really good price today. So that one's looking better. I've got them sitting nice and flush on top of each other. I'm going to trim off the excess tiger tail. And then close the calotte around it and give it a little press down. And then I need to add on my clasp and my jump rings. And then I've got, I mean, even if you do a different design on your bracelet than you do on the necklace, if you're using the same colours, you're going to have a matching set. So I'm just going to give my jump ring a little twist open and add on my, there it is, hiding. Adding on my little lobster clasp. And then again, making sure that jump ring's fully closed. Twist open. Let's get those a little bit better lined up. We're going to do it, we're doing it properly. So my bracelet, using 7 spaces, was it? Yeah, is working out to be 8 inches. So if you want to make that smaller, you absolutely can. If you want to make it bigger, you absolutely can. But there is my cute little bracelet to match my very pretty necklace. There you go. Job's a good one. So I'll put it on. I have got a necklace on at the moment, so I will take one necklace off just so you can see how it sits at this length on me. But of course, everybody's body is different, so it might sit in a slightly different position on you. Isn't it cute though? Look at the sparkles. So this today is the Danniella Crystal Rainbow Necklace. Each of your kit is going to make up 3 necklaces and 3 bracelets for just £11.50, which is an absolute bargain. It comes in an array of different colours. This one that I've just demoed with is the bouquet with the silver. We've got Dawn on champagne, which is your kind of goldy colours. The garden is your green tones on the champagne, and then we have ocean, which is your blues, and they are on your silver findings. They should be £14.99, but today they're just £11.50 over on the Totally Beads website. Heather says they would be lovely for holidays, and a lovely combination of colours, says Joanne. I think they would be perfect for holidays, but I'm not on holiday. I'm just going to be making around the house today. I'm going to be wearing this while I do. So thank you so much for joining me today. I'm going to be back with you, of course, as always, on Monday. What we're making Monday? I'm thinking I might be making large pearl necklaces with you on Monday. I'm not too sure. I've got enough projects here that I've put together to take me through to September. So yesterday I tried to sit and kind of organise all the way to October really. I've got September planned too. I probably will change up the schedule when I go down to the warehouse in a couple of weeks, because I'll just have new things that I want to play with sooner. But I'm not sure what I'm doing on Monday, but if you want to come join me on Monday, I'm sure it's going to be fabulous. Thank you all for being with me today. I hope you have a very lovely weekend. Take care, keep making, keep smiling, and I'll see you soon.